Okay, good afternoon. It's great to see everybody. It's Wednesday afternoon. We're going to do a Rashi from the fourth Aliyah and actually look at some additional psukim to try to get clarity on an interesting incident in this week's parsha. In the fourth Aliyah, Moshe Rabbeinu gives some commandment to the elders of the people, instructing them on what to do in the future event when the Jewish people would cross the Yarden, an event which, of course, Moshe Rabbeinu would not be a part of. And he describes this elaborate ceremony having to do with stones, which becomes a little bit convoluted. By Yitzav Moshe v'ziknei Yisrael sa'am le'mor, he commands the nation, saying, Shemor kol ha'mitzvah asher nochim hayom, keep all of the commandments which I give you today, etc. V'haya, here's the event that he's going to describe. Bayom asher tavru es hayarden, the day you cross the Jordan River, el haaretz asher Hashem lokach nosecha, to the land that God gave you. You should establish large stones and cover them with plaster. And you should write all the words of the Torah upon these stones. And this will be a means of ensuring that you indeed come to the land of milk and honey that God had promised your forefathers. Somehow it's a condition of our entry to the land or of our staying in the land to take these large stones and write the Torah upon them. Very beautiful, many gorgeous ideas having to do with these stones. But I want to get to a more practical detail over here. So first he says that on the day that they cross, they should take out these big stones and write the Torah on them. Now, he doesn't say where exactly they should be placed or what they should do with them. Then it seems to repeat again. Now it says, on the day that you cross the Yarden, you should establish these stones that I'm commanding you about at Har Eval. That's the place where you have the ceremony of the brachos and the klalos. Har Eval, Har Grizim, quite a distance from where they crossed the Yarden. Visadatosam basid, you should cover them with plaster. And now, not only does it say v'chasafta lavanim kol divrei Torah azos be'er heitev, you should write all the words of the Torah on it, like it said earlier. But now we also learn uvanisa sham mizbeach l'shem lokecha mizbeach avanim lo sanif aleim barzal. You should build a stone mizbeach over there in Har Eval. So there's a lot of questions over here. First of all, there's two repetitions of the word lahakim, hakimos lachavanim gedolos, and then again, takimu es havanim ha'ela. Is this the same set of stones that we're being commanded about? And if so, then why should we establish them twice? And if it's a different set of stones, and this set of stones was destined for Har Eval, well, where was this set of stones placed? There's a lot of missing details over here in this passage. It's actually further complicated if you look in Sefer Yoshua, where all this comes to fruition. Let's take a look right now. The fourth parak of Sefer Yoshua, after all the people cross the Yarden, Vayomer Hashem Yoshua lemor, Hashem says to Yoshua, take 12 people, one from every tribe, but Tavo Osam lemor, command them saying, Sulachem mizeh, mitoch hayarden, mimatzav raglei hakonim, hachin 12 avanim. Take from the Yarden, from the place where the Kohanim were standing when the Yarden split and the Jewish people crossed, they were holding the Aron, the Yarden split. Take from there 12 stones, v'ha'avartem osam imachem, carry them over the Yarden with you, v'inachtem osam b'malon asher talinu bo halayla. And you should establish them in the malon, the hotel, the camp, the dwelling place where you're going to rest that night. Now, that dwelling place was a place called Gilgal. So now we learn something else. We learn where these stones were supposed to be placed. So now if you go back to, they were placed in Gilgal. So now if you go back to our psukim, so was that this set of stones placed in Gilgal? Or was it this set of stones placed in Har Eval? How does the Gilgal story fit in with this anonymous avanim here, and this avanim that are supposed to go to Har Eval? It's getting even more complicated. To further complicate matters, we see in the later part here of this passage in Yoshua, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I highlighted it. Of course I could find it. it seems that there's even another set of stones. Ushtem-esrei avanim hakim Yoshua besoch hayarden tachas matzav raglei hakohanim nosei aron habris v'yusham ad hayom hazeh. Without the command of Hashem, Yoshua seems to establish another set of 12 stones in the Yarden, besoch hayarden. So now we have stones in the Yarden, which were not part of the story in our parsha, but simply voluntarily done by Yoshua. Then we have stones that are established in Gilgal, which seems to be the fulfillment of some command that was given by God to Moshe. But then when we go back to the passage about God and Moshe, the only stones that are spoken about are the ones at Har Eval, or these anonymous stones over here. So Rashi puts all of these passages together, also gleaning from the Gemara and Sota. And he says, if you look at all the stories together, you realize there are actually 3 sets of stones. 12 in the Jordan. That's what we just saw in Yoshua in the second pasuk. He himself established 12 stones to stay in the Yarden, to be established in the river. So anybody who comes to the river will see these big stones. Ukenegdan begilgal. Another set of them were established in the place they encamped that night when they crossed over the Yarden, which is the stones that are in Gilgal. That's the first set of stones in Sefer Yoshua. So for that accounts for 2. Ukenegdan behar Eval, and a third set of stones was established at Har Eval. V'kiplum v'he'evium behar Eval b'malon. But that set of stones which were established at Har Eval were actually reestablished back in the Malon, in the place they camped. Wow, so confusing over here. The Rashi here is a little bit terse, so I'll unpack it for you. I think what it's saying is as follows, reflecting the view of Chazal. There seems to be, in the totality of the story, the stones of the Yarden, which are only mentioned in Yoshua. The stones of Gilgal, which are mentioned in Yoshua, and they seem to be the anonymous stones mentioned here in our parsha. And then there seems to be stones at Har Eval as well. There seems to be 3 locations of stones. However, we really only know about 2 sets of stones in Sefer Yoshua that were ever taken out when the story actually takes place. The ones he put in the Yarden and the ones he put in Gilgal. So Rashi, based on the Gemara and Sota, puts these facts together. He says it must be that miraculously, on the day they crossed the Yarden, Yoshua put stones in the Yarden. That's the second pasuk in Yoshua. In addition to that, the nation, one representative from each tribe, took 12 stones from out of the Yarden, crossed them over into the land, miraculously transported them all the way to Har Eval to fulfill this second command here in our parsha, then wrapped them up, transported them back, and reestablished them in Gilgal on that very night in the fulfillment of the first pasuk in Yoshua. I know that's very confusing, very miraculous. I hope that was clear and at least could make sense of some of the psukim and of the Rashi we saw today. I wish you a great day ahead. Of course, we didn't get to the meaning and symbolism of all this, and stones and what they mean. Maybe we'll discuss that tomorrow instead of another Rashi, which will be a difficult aliyah of the Tochacha. But maybe we'll talk about that more tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
See you tomorrow. Have a good day.
Take care, everyone.